God's judgment under the old covenant was while men were still living on earth, which means it was not an afterlife judgment. God dealt with man even before the law was given, according to their ways and deeds. God, being a just and righteous God, judged according to good and evil. Peter in his second letter mentions God's judgment upon the angels, the ancient world, and Sodom and Gomorrah. He begins by saying that God did not spare even angels when they sinned. This conveys that even angels were judged. The sin that the angels committed was pride. They wanted to be like God. They tried to ascend to the heavens, raise their throne above the stars of God, sit enthroned on the Mount of Assembly. They wanted to take the place of God. Angels were God's servants, ministering spirits, but because they sinned, they were not spared and were brought down to the realm of the dead, to the depths of the pit. They were sent to hell, putting them in chains of darkness to be held for judgment. Secondly, Peter mentions God's judgment upon the ancient world, the time during the man of God Noah. This was before the law was given. In Genesis we read, "Now the earth was corrupt in God's sight and full of violence. God saw how corrupt the earth had become, for all the people on earth had become corrupted. So God put an end by destroying what he created, but saved Noah and his family, for he was a righteous man who walked in the ways of God." Third, that Peter mentions is the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. The sin of these cities was sexual immorality. The men of these cities were so immoral that they tried to physically abuse Lot's guests who were angels. They were struck with blindness, both young and old. Their sin was so grievous that God rained down burning sulfur. But Lot, a righteous man, along with his wife and daughter, were saved. Peter goes on to write, "If this is so, then the Lord knows how to rescue the godly from trials and to hold the unrighteous for punishment on the day of judgment." In Corinthians we read, "For we must all appear before the judgment seat of Christ, so that each of us may receive what is due us for the things done while in the body, whether good or bad."